Brightest blessings, everyone. Okay, so I figured I'd do a video this time on where I'm coming from with Donald Trump and why I have issues with him and stuff like that. And in order to make it a shorter video, about as short as I can, I'm just going to base it off of his Muslim ban, and that it's not what he says it is. You know, he says, oh, this is not a Muslim ban. This is to protect America and have America come first and everything from those radical Islamic terrorists. You know, and so it's not a Muslim ban. Well, I have to disagree. And apparently the courts have to disagree as well, because they keep telling him it's unconstitutional, which it is. Now, Trump, I could get on board with his Muslim ban if it was anything that he said it was, you know, to protect us from radical Islamic terrorists and to bring America first on this. But the thing is that he doesn't do anything about terrorism that happens most in this country, and that is by radical Christian terrorists and white terrorists, because it's almost like this country is afraid to say exactly what it is if they're not Muslim. If it's done by someone who happens to be a Muslim, that's the first thing they say: terrorism, terrorism. But if it's by someone who's white and not Muslim, they can't say the word, even if it is the textbook definition of terrorism. And they don't do shit about it. That's my number one thing. My number two thing is, if you look at the countries that were banned, not one of them had people... Okay, look at the terrorists that were responsible for pulling off 9/11. You know, the biggest terrorist attack there had been on American soil since when? And got this country together and rallied and everything. But when you look at the terrorists responsible for this, responsible for pulling this off, and you look at the places they came from, the funny thing is not one of these places are on this Muslim ban. Not one. And in fact, the one with the most terrorists on here, I'd say about, what was it? Oh, 15 out of the 19 terrorists were from Saudi Arabia, which Trump himself considers our ally at this point in time. So much so that he's selling them arms. He's selling them weapons. When he went to Saudi Arabia, let me look at this. He just sold $110 billion worth of weapons to them. And actually, this is more like a $350 billion thing, because he's going to be selling them more over the next 10 years. And this is from Saudi Arabia, the country that 15 out of the 19 terrorists that were responsible for 9/11 came from. Wow. You're really keeping us safe, Donald. Let's see here the other countries that were really strangely left out of the Muslim ban. And, well, these countries also are mainly Muslim. Egypt, Lebanon, and the United Arab Emirates. And of course, let's not forget Saudi Arabia. These are the countries that the terrorists came from 9/11 and other terrorist attacks. And yet, out of all the countries on this Muslim ban, they're not on there. So, Donald, if you were truly taking this ban simply because to protect the United States from terrorism, why did you leave all of these countries off? Why are you selling weapons to the one who had 15 out of the 19 terrorists come from? And make that $110 billion worth of weapons. $350 billion worth of weapons over the next 10 years. Why? How does that keep us safe, Donald? I'd like to have an explanation from Donald or from, well, pretty much anybody who can try to back this up. This is not me hating on Donald. This is not me listening to false news. Donald himself came up with these fucking countries. And not one of them have terrorists coming from them that are responsible for terrorist attacks on the U.S. soil. So, anybody who's backing Trump's Muslim ban, please tell me. Educate me. Show me the ignorant leftist, the ignorant Democrat. Why? Educate me. Let me know. Blessed be.